Gibson himself on the quarterback option, runs right side, he is in. Touchdown Buffalo, the Bills get the lead back again. Josh firing deep down near the end zone, looking for Diggs, he's got it. Touchdown! Touchdown Buffalo! There's Stephon Diggs, a 35-yard hookup with Josh Allen. Touchdown Bills. The pass, it is caught by Diggs, gets a few blocks, and he goes into the end zone. He is in. Touchdown Buffalo. Lamar Jackson back to throw, guns it into the end zone, intercepted. 2 yards deep in the end zone, intercepted by Taron Johnson. 10, 5, touchdown! Touchdown! Taron Johnson goes 102 yards with an end zone interception. Touchdown Buffalo!
Welcome to a One Bills Live special Saturday send-off edition as the Bills get ready to head to Kansas City to face the Chiefs in the AFC Championship Game. We want to remind fans that Dunn Tire is the official tire dealer of the Buffalo Bills, but Steve Tasker, Chris Brown joining you here now. We'll be checking in with Matty Glab, who is at the airport shortly. But Steve, the first road playoff game of this postseason for the Bills. Just take me into the preparations when you shift from a home playoff game to the road. You guys did it in '88 and a couple other times.
You use it to your advantage as much as you can. Everything you spin positive forward, like, hey, this is going to help us. We're going to be out of distractions. My family, I don't have to go home and live with, my 6 nephews and my nieces and my brothers and my mom and dad visiting. I can get away from that. I'm in a hotel room. I can focus on the game. You always spin it positively.
Yeah.
It's fun to share all that with your family and have them there, but you just kind of grab what's positive about being, on a business trip, and you make it your own, and that's what these guys will do. They'll focus in on the game. They'll have meetings tonight. Everybody's sequestered in their hotel room. Very easy to eliminate distractions when you're on a road trip like this, and you use it to your advantage.
And I would think for the first time the pressure is off, too, because the Chiefs are the clear favorite. They're defending Super Bowl champs, and you're playing them in their building. You can go into this one. I mean, the nerves will be there, but you can kind of hang loose after the first couple of plays, I would think.
I think you can, yeah. You can take a deep breath and say, okay, I can just play, on the expectations are non-existent. Certainly Bills fans are all about it and this stuff. And I've heard this as well. A lot of young Bills fans, 35 and maybe younger, who were too young to remember back in the early 90s or were so small they, it was part of them.
Right.
Or, distant memories. This is a new feeling, and some of them will say, hey, listen, this team feels special. Listen, this is the way it is when you have a good team. This is what a good team feels like.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that if your team loses this game that they're less special, and it doesn't mean that if they win it they're more special. It just means they have managed to win the game on Sunday, and that's kind of the mindset you have to have as a player. Listen, this is another game in our season.
Yep.
We've earned it. Let's go play. Let's measure up, and you take a deep breath and you play your heart out, and like you always do. And that's we've been talking about it on the show all week. They don't have to do anything special to win this game. They're special because they earned their right to be there.
Yeah.
Just go out and be you, and you'll be fine.
Let's go out to Buffalo Niagara International Airport in Cheektowaga, where our own colleague Matty Glab is standing by to kind of tell us what's going on out there right now. Set the scene for us, Matty. What can we expect from you today on this stream?
Hey, guys, it's the perfect Saturday for a Saturday send-off. You talked about the positive vibes, so I'm trying to channel those. It's very cold and windy right now, as you can probably tell with how bundled I am. I had my hood up, but I took it off for you guys because you really couldn't see anything but my eyes. But yes, I'm here at the airport. Right behind me, we've got the plane that our players will be taking to Kansas City here shortly. They are set for departure at 1 o'clock, so soon enough we will start seeing players heading on to the tarmac, getting onto the plane as they prepare for Sunday's kickoff against the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship Game. So not too much commotion here right now. It's just more staff and people who help set everything up for road games. So this is pretty standard. The team has been on the road this season. Their road record is so great over the last 2 seasons under Sean McDermott. So I know they're taking that and channeling that into this game. But coming up, I will have a couple interviews with some awesome guys. Dion, Dawkins, and Micah Hyde will be joining me for an interview as we send them off to Kansas City. So you can tune in for that, hopefully within the next 10-20 minutes or so as this place starts to get busy. But right now, the scene is pretty quiet.
All right. Well, we will check back in with you when those guys are available. And I don't know. Keep your eyes out. Who knows? We may see a couple of fans trickling by to kind of send them off with you there, Maddie. So keep an eye out for that for us, and we'll check back in when you've got some of the players handy to speak to. Thank you for letting us know what it's like out there. It's a good thing she took the hood off. We may not even recognize who the heck she is. She's like the Nook of the North out there.
I know, I'm pretty sure my grandkids have stuffed animals as big as Maddie, too. But right? So, yeah, it is cold out there, and there'll be – it's a huge accomplishment to get to this level of the NFL. We all know what this team has had to go through to get there. They've had one of the most difficult schedules imaginable in the NFL. They won a ton of games, 13-3 and a Hail Mary away from 14-2. That's a big year.
Yeah,
that's no fluke against the teams that they played, who were also very good teams all the way down the line. And then to get through two playoff games against two playoff teams that were playing really well coming into that game. So the Bills absolutely deserve to be there, and it's going to be a really good game, I'm sure. It's been a long time. It's been a couple of years. The Bills have not been at the center of a bad performance by them for a long, long time. Certainly they've played against good teams who have taken some things away from them, and they haven't scored 50 points a game. But they're a good team, and you can count on them playing well. It doesn't mean they're going to win, but they're going to make you proud. And I think this is going to be a really good football team. Yeah. Certainly, you said it. Chiefs are the favorite. Okay, fine. Let's play.
Yeah, and I know that there are not a lot of fans at the airport now. We know that when the team usually comes back from a victory, it's a much different story. I can tell you from traveling with the team for the Jacksonville playoff game in 2017 and for the Houston playoff game last year that there is usually a contingent of Bills fans at the airport they are flying to on Saturday, the day before the game. So I would fully anticipate there being a group of fans, a representative contingent of Bills fans at the Kansas City airport
there may be,
today. Somewhere behind the fence line off of airport property, but they're going to be there.
I imagine there'll be a bunch of the fans at the hotel when they get there as well, in the lobby.
Yes.
Right there at the hotel.
I would say check and check.
Because the airport is, especially the airport in Kansas City, it's out. I mean, it's not the Denver airport, but it's like Kansas City. It's out there, so people might get ahead of it and say, you know what, let's just go to where they're staying and get there and cheer them as they come off the boat. That was the way they did it way back in the day, and I'm sure that not much has changed.
First AFC Championship game for the Bills since 1994, which was January of the 93 season, and obviously that game was played here against the Chiefs. This time it's on the road, and the weather forecast really hasn't changed much, Steve, all week long. There is a chance of rain tomorrow. Temps expected to be in the mid-30s by kickoff, which is at 6:40 p.m. This is a game that will be played after the sun goes down, so it will be chilly for the Bills fans that have made the trip, paid the money to get one of those 17,000 tickets that are made available by the Chiefs to attend this game. Just your thoughts about the potential weather impact, knowing that rain is in the forecast. It's supposed to be occasional showers, so it's a kind of an on and off kind of thing. And we remember back in Week 6, it was raining in that game. That was an ugly game, too, played on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, we stunk in that game offensively as well. But and it really played against the Bills in their own game plan. It allowed the Chiefs to get away from throwing the football when would have been maybe as difficult to throw it as it would have been, more difficult to throw it than it would have been to run it in a night like that when it was windy and rainy like it was in the October game. But, it stinks. Rain's bad, wind's worse, but the conditions are going to be the same for both teams, and both these teams are going to have their foot on the gas and going. So they'll overcome it. These guys have all played in bad weather games, and particularly the Bills have as well. So we'll see. How bad it is, who knows? If it gets really bad, it's going to affect everything. But we'll see. I'm not going to get caught up in worrying about the weather.
Yeah, I know that fans have been choosing many different creative ways to show their support of the team. Obviously, we know there's a bunch of people that jumped in a car this week and drove the 1,000-plus miles out to Kansas City, Missouri to attend this game. Some fans have made the trip, Steve. They don't even have a ticket. They're just going out there to tailgate and enjoy game day. They're not even going in the stadium. That is dedication. But we wanted to share with you some of these fan photos that have been circulating on social media. The Josh Allen Snowman, this is down in Allegheny County, Steve, and I understand with some of the warmer temperatures this week, he unfortunately melted to some degree, but this is an 8-foot-tall homage to Josh Allen. That is pretty good work, Steve. The question is, how many gallons of food coloring are involved here?
Yeah. There's a couple of bottles of food
the pants alone. Now, here's the great part.
Pants alone, the hat, the jersey, it's great artistry, I got to tell you.
That's really good. And then this is on somebody's front lawn. It's a gigantic 3D Bills logo. I can't imagine the tamping efforts to get this packed in. I mean, you could build an igloo underneath that. You can dig under and build an igloo under that Bills logo there. But
game under that, yeah, that's
and again, the food coloring quotient here is
food
significant.
color, is it just plain old paint?
Maybe
it looks
paint.
like sprayed paint on.
Could be spray paint. That would be faster.
I guess a pandemic gives people more time to do that kind of
well,
stuff, right?
Yes.
I mean, you're stuck at home.
There is that.
You know what, Brownie? Let's go out and make an 8-foot Josh Allen. No,
I'm not talented enough to do that.
I'm like, I don't know if I got enough time.
I don't have enough artistic ability to do that kind of thing.
But end up looking
good
like
on them for their
else.
efforts. I know a lot of Bills fans got a kick out of that. And I think we need to discuss also, Steve, the injury report came out right as our show went off the air yesterday, One Bills Live, which, you hear on WGR 550 and you watch on MSG. Mahomes cleared to play, was widely anticipated.
Yeah.
There are other players for them that are questionable, including starting cornerback Bashaud Breeland and a few others. So they've got Willie Gay, the linebacker, is out. He's not a starter per se, but he's probably their most athletic linebacker. He is out of the equation. But Bashaud Breeland, a starting cornerback, he is questionable. Rashad Fenton is a starting corner as well. We don't have the right position designations there, but those two guys are questionable. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, a running back, is questionable. He's missed the last 5 games, and they said even if he does play, he's not going to get a full workload, so he's questionable. And there's a couple other players as well who are dinged. And then for the Bills side of the ledger, it's really a short list. I think we all know going into this game that Cole Beasley is not 100% right and probably won't be for the rest of the year, but he is good to go. Gabriel Davis is a receiver, though, that is hobbled by an ankle injury, did get on the practice field on a limited basis yesterday, and then Vernon Butler with a quad injury. He's been questionable, but he, too, did get on the practice field in a limited capacity yesterday. But really, that's a short list for the Bills when you think about it, Steve. To be at this point in the season, they're in pretty good shape, all things considered.
It's almost – I know this, too, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer here, but all of these guys have got hurt that they're lugging around with them, all of them. Josh Allen, Tremaine Edmonds, Tre'Davious, everybody's lugging around something. You just can't escape it. Most of it is minor, sore elbows, you got bumped or whatever, a scrape or cut or bruise, something, or a twist that you're still dealing with. Every single one of these players, even the kicker Tyler Bass, who didn't even hit the ground during the game the other night, he's got a hand injury. So when it gets to the point where you have to report it and it affects your play, then you've got a problem. And certainly Gabe Davis was a yeoman, put out a gutsy performance against the Ravens because he got hurt early in that game and limped noticeably the entire game and didn't miss a rep. And they kept going because it might have been because the 4 wide receiver set was really important and they needed it.
Yeah.
So that might have been the reason they had to have him gutted out. But man, oh man, all these guys are hurting, and I'm sure the Chiefs guys are the exact same way.
Let's talk about the Bills as a road team this year, Steve. 6-2 on the road this season. Losses at Tennessee and the Hail Mary game in Arizona. Those are their only losses this season on the road. They were also a 6-2 team on the road last year. So this is a team that doesn't really have an issue when it comes to playing on the road. Their performance usually is pretty consistent with what it is at home.
Let's take about the teams that have beaten. I've for a long time have taken that Tennessee game off the map because it was just impossible for the Bills to be ready to play that game. It was just absolutely impossible. And the Tennessee Titans could not have been put in a better position. I know it sounds crazy, but I can debate the point. Them being off for 2 weeks before they and what they were going through as a team before it happened, a couple of practices and go out and play, absolutely a perfect mental spot for the Tennessee Titans to beat the Bills and lump them up good. So I take that game off the schedule. So you're looking at the Chiefs, who are a phenomenal team, and the Arizona team, and even the last game before that, the Houston playoff game. I kind of put the Houston playoff game and the Arizona game is kind of what you're looking at when you get the Bills on the road. They're hard to beat, and it takes a singular effort by an incredible athlete to beat them. Mm-hmm. They got a 16-point lead in the first half coming out of halftime, and it dwindles away, and they got put away by the singular play of Deshaun Watson. That was the guy. It takes an incredible player making a couple of incredible plays, and I remember coming out of that Houston game last year thinking, you could name 6 plays that if they went differently, that game's different.
Right.
That's what it takes to beat the Bills on the road. That's why, it's a thing. The Bills on the road is a thing. They're good, and they're gonna come out and play well in this game. But the Chiefs have got a lot of singular talented players who could make those plays.
You sparked something in my head when you said Deshaun Watson had to make some special plays, and he was the singular guy that lifted the Texans to victory over the Bills last year in the postseason in the wild card game in Houston. It made me think, in this game on Sunday, you may need Josh Allen to do the exact same thing to beat this Chiefs team.
Maybe, but I also think, too, that Josh is one of those guys. I don't think we're going to see a crazy sideways lateral from him this year.
No,
You know what I mean?
I'm not saying that, but the way Deshaun Watson lifted the play of everybody on the offensive side of the ball to bring his team back and win the game, I'm thinking that Josh Allen has to do some of that tomorrow to beat a Chiefs team that's as good as they are.
If it comes down to that, sure. And I think he's got more.
And I think he's capable.
Yeah, I think it comes down to more. He's got more help this year. Steph Diggs makes an enormous difference.
He does.
Another year under the belt of Devin Singletary makes an enormous difference. Beasley and Brown being healthy and out there make an enormous difference. You're right. Josh is the guy who's going to set the tone emotionally and with his words and with his play. But when push comes to shove, and they've proven they can do it. That Arizona game, that last drive of the Arizona game was money.
Yeah.
Cole Beasley making a couple of spectacular, and that one over the head, one-handed catch on the third down, all that stuff. Yes, you're right. I think Josh Allen has it in him to be that guy. But we've all seen him be, that guy who's kind of way out over the top, where he fumbles the ball away or it's sideways laterals.
Less so this year than last year, but
less so this year. He's the guy that's kind of drunk muscles pushing the Rams defenders off before he finally threw it away, which was good. But Josh may have to do that, and it's going to be interesting to see whether he becomes that sugar high Josh that people laugh at, or is he going to be cool Josh who makes the play? That'll be interesting.
Steve Tasker, Chris Brown here with you on the special Saturday send-off stream, and we'll be joining Maddie Glab out at the Buffalo Niagara International Airport shortly as she is waiting for some players to arrive. We anticipate we'll be talking to Dion Dawkins and Micah Hyde before the players get on the plane to head out to Kansas City for the AFC title game. So stay tuned for that. We'll be bringing them to you as soon as they arrive at the airport. Steve, let's talk a little bit about coaching experience here. We know for Andy Reid, this is his 8th conference championship game. Several members of his staff have been to those as well. Heck, this is the 3rd time in a row, 3rd straight year that the Chiefs are in the AFC title game. So it's nothing new for them. For Bills coaches, though, they've got plenty of experience in this realm also. Right. I mean, Sean McDermott's been to a handful of them, as has Leslie Frazier. We know for Brian Dable, this is number 9. So, or number 10, I think.
He's got Super Bowls in his resume.
And he's got Super Bowls on his resume.
He's got national championships at the collegiate level in those games. Yeah,
is this a wash from a coaching perspective pretty much between these two staffs in terms of being on this stage and being ready for it?
This is not too big for either staff, no question. Andy Reid's got as much experience in these games as anybody. Dayball, and it's recent experience as well. I mean, these guys have been around recently in these playoffs and with big games. So I think it's a wash. I think both these clubs, the coaching staffs are not going to cost either team this game. I don't think. I certainly don't think the Bills will. They've been on point from start to finish for 18, 19 games now. So.
I wanted to run this by you. We didn't get a chance to address this on the show, which is shocking because we've been talking about this game all week. And I meant to mention it to you yesterday on our One Bills live show, and I did not do it because we ran out of time. I was watching the Week 6 game between these two teams. And if you remember, in the first half of that game, The Bills had a flea flicker called. Handoff to Devin Singletary. He tosses it back to Josh, and Josh has John Brown open on a deep post play. And the ball's there, but it's a nice defensive play by the safety. He breaks up the pass. He's there just in time. So the play was on, and it was there to be made. Just a better defensive play happened that prevented it from being a touchdown because the play was there. We have not seen in recent weeks too much trickery or gadget play from Brian Dable. And I understand why. Maybe you play it a little closer to the vest in the postseason. But
I think you pick your spots.
Against this team where you know you're going to need touchdowns and not field goals, how much does the gadget play or the art of deception enter the game plan for the Bills on offense this week against this opponent? Because they tried it in week 6.
Yeah. Tyrann Mathieu's hard to fool. And I think you get to this level because your team's pretty good. And there may be and here's the thing, there may be a moment where there may be some stuff in the playbook, in the game plan. Say, listen, if we do this, we're going to do this toss pass or this throwback or what have you, reverse pass, you name it. We've got this play in. If it's this situation, we can call it and it might work, or we might do it. But only in this situation, because otherwise it won't work on them. These guys have shown, you get an idea.
Get the right look.
Right.
It's on. You have the green light.
And, you've got to execute it perfectly. Some teams are more susceptible to trick plays than others because they pursue hard and fast and they go quick and they react fast and go. So if you can catch them in one of those quick, fast, hard reactions and give them something they thought they were going to get and have them attack it, and then it's not that, it's a throwback and back behind them, yeah, you can do that. But some teams are not as susceptible to that. They're more disciplined than that.
The Bills, I have to believe, who go 4 wide a good deal, second most popular. They've used 10 personnel, the second most in the league. Tampa Bay, I think, is the only other team that's used it more than them. And if you have some dinged-up corners for the Kansas City Chiefs, I would be inclined to think that you're going to that personnel grouping more often on Sunday, as we're actually watching Brian Dable head to the airplane now.
Look at him
dressed at the airport.
Like no coat, just a sweater, all warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who doesn't like bringing a coat with him and then having it with him on the plane. Extra bulk, you don't need that.
Yeah, the extra bulk. There you go. Yeah.
I mean, if you let's just say hypothetically, Bashaud Breeland is not out of concussion protocol, cannot play. Now you got to go to the next guy. L'Jarius Sneed is usually their nickel. He may have to move to the outside. Now Rashad Fenton's on the field as one of your top 3 corners instead of your 4th corner. And then who's your 4th corner after that? It's somebody even further down the depth chart.
Yeah, or
it would almost encourage me as a play caller to go 10 personnel all the more, because now they're that much more shorthanded. You would think advantage Bills there.
Right, unless they could feel confident about moving Tyrann Mathieu out of the center of the field and putting him on man coverage.
Well, and it's interesting you say that, Steve, because back in week 6, L'Jarius Sneed, who is their nickel corner, was on injured reserve. He did not play in the Bills game in week 6, and that's what they did with Tyrann Mathieu. So you say, oh, geez, you got Tyrann Mathieu in a slot cover role. Right. I think that's a good thing for the Bills, because now he's not roving around out there in the backfield playing free. You know what I mean?
If he's guarding Diggs, at least he's not going to pick it off if you don't throw it to Diggs, right?
Right, and we didn't see him in a rover-type role in Week 6 because of those coverage assignments that he was given, because Sneed was out.
And that could be an issue if they do have a guy they like to go in there and leave Mathieu in the middle of the field. Then he's a problem. The guy's a problem. But you're right. If their secondary is decimated by injuries, you got to test it. The problem is this: if the Chiefs want to. If the Chiefs feel vulnerable in their back end, they may send more pressure to see if they can get the ball out of Josh's hands quicker.
Well, and that's what they did in Week 6. Right. They pressured him 52% of his dropbacks.
He did not play well, and they may think, okay, the more the better.
He's better against the blitz now.
Josh is better against the blitz, and so is the offensive line and his pass pro and his understanding. And it's harder to catch him off guard now than it was then. So all of this stuff goes into the mix. Injuries are our problem. I would think that the Chiefs feel probably pretty good with the guys they've got in there, even if they do have a couple of guys nicked. But I'm with you. If they have some guys that are unusual starts, when you go 10 personnel or 11 personnel even, you test them. Test them quick.
You're watching us here on the One Bills Live Saturday send-off stream as the Bills are on their way to Kansas City. They're getting on board the plane that will take them there for the AFC title game tomorrow. We'll be joining Maddie Glab shortly as she'll have Dion, Dawkins, and Micah Hyde interviews with them. So we're waiting for them to arrive on the tarmac. She'll talk to them at that point in time. We want to remind Bills fans, Dunn Tires, the official tire dealer of the Buffalo Bills. Chris Brown, Steve Tasker here with you as we're watching more and more players board the plane. Is that John Feliciano? That might be Feliciano. Hard to tell. Everybody's got masks on.
Masks make it hard, yeah.
Yeah, well, Feliciano's grown a bit here. That's Josh.
Is that Josh right there?
Yeah.
What's he got on his T-shirt?
He's got some special T-shirt here. Our ace videographer, Karina Dolan, is bringing these images to us as we get the official thumbs up. That's Josh's thing, in case you didn't know. Anytime he walks into the tunnel before the game, it's the thumb up.
Yeah.
It was funny because last week, prior to the divisional playoff, he comes to the locker. He arrives at the stadium. He's making his way up the tunnel to go into the locker room, and the people shooting the video are waiting for the customary thumbs up. You know, everybody's superstitious at this point in the postseason, and he's walking, no thumb, no sign, and then right before he goes in the door, he does the thumb at the last second. So he almost left him hanging there.
Working it up.
He was working the.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, it's good when they're that loose, though. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
That's a good thing. And like I was saying earlier, the pressure is undoubtedly off, I believe, on this team because the Chiefs are the overwhelming favorite in this game. They're playing at home. They've been to these championship games for 3 straight seasons now, and everybody under the sun that is a national prognosticator has picked the Chiefs. We were talking about that on the show yesterday, Steve, how everybody across the board, and the guy that really got my goat the most was former front office man Scott Pioli, formerly of the New England Patriots front office.
And the Chiefs.
And he was on ESPN doing an interview, and they asked him, what is it going to take for the Chiefs to beat the Bills on Sunday? And his 2-word answer before he followed up was, not much. He basically said, all they need to do is have Patrick Mahomes show up healthy, and they need to control Stephon Diggs, and they win the football game. And I got to tell you, that just chapped me to no end.
It was
because it's such a much more complicated equation than that.
It was a little dismissive.
It was very dismissive. I understand why the Chiefs are the favorite. I get that, but don't say that. It's going to take 2 things for that Patrick Mahomes just has to show up, and they have to control Stephon Diggs, and the game's over. I mean, come on.
I got one just like that. You and I have been really busy because we're on every day talking about the Bills, and so radio stations and entities around the country are asking Brownie and I to come on their shows live,
right,
to talk about the Bills because we're in broadcast. We're the authorities. I mean, we talk about them all day, every day. We're up to snuff on all the everything. So we're kind of a go-to source for radio stations and sports stations around the country. You've been as busy as I have, and I came on one. And before they come on, you know how they put you on? You can hear it over the phone when they're talking. They're right.
Oh, yeah, you
told
me about this. Listen to this one.
And the guy goes, he goes, I think this Bills team is a little bit like the JV coming into town to take on a varsity team finally.
Yeah.
I didn't call him on it. I was just like, whatever. Fine. And
I would have called him on it.
I was like, I couldn't. But it was incredibly dismissive of an AFC Championship game.
And you know what? The Bills love it.
Yeah,
they love sitting in the weeds.
This is the first time I've said that, other than to you, but I was like, wow, they are full of it.
Players
full of themselves.
These players love sitting in the weeds. They love people underestimating us. I remember Micah Hyde probably midway through the season as we watched Mitch Morse, I believe, rolling up.
Mitch Morse. They can't even buy sweats for these guys that fit. Look at him. His pants are like.
Well, this is a guy that's playing in the AFC title game. He played with the Chiefs in the AFC title game in 2018 when they lost to the Patriots.
He was the center for Pat Mahomes when he was the MVP.
That's right. So he's walking up to the airplane there as the players continue to file in.
He said it today, and you kind of feel this too. I mean, for all of Bills fans everywhere, and you got to know. Mitch Morse said the thing that is so strikingly similar about Josh and Pat Mahomes is they're both great dudes.
Yeah,
they're both great guys. You can kind of get a feel for that when you certainly Bills fans know how great Josh is and what a great guy he is, but Mahomes is a long cut from the same cloth.
So anyway, to complete my thought about being under the radar and how much the players relish that role. About I want to say it was week 8 or 9, Micah Hyde, after another victory, said, keep on doubting us. Keep on doubting us. They welcome it. They use it as fuel.
Yeah. It's the easiest thing in the world to do.
Oh, my gosh.
The easiest thing in the world. I mean, you probably did it in your soccer career, man. When you walk in and
that's different than this.
It's just an
I think we should be comparing your football career to this than going there.
Right, but it's the same thing in every. When they doubt you, to come through in a big way is the best thing ever, and it's motivating. It's really empowering. It's the oldest. Playing the underdog card to your team and to yourself and your teammate. It's when you've got a legit reason to do that. It's easier to play your best. There's just no question about it.
I think that's Ike Butker. Is that Ike Butker coming through? Yeah, the linemen are rolling up now. And, Steve, this is a funny thing that I don't know that many fans are aware of, so let's share this one, because each position group, if they're fortunate enough to have a rookie in their ranks, every road trip they have an assignment. Now, do you know what I'm getting at here?
Yeah, they got to bring
food
food
assignment.
to the plane, yeah.
So maybe just lay this out. This is one of those unknown things and one of these unwritten rules among players and position groups. If you are a rookie in your position group, every road trip, you're in charge with getting the food order, right?
Right. Unless the coaching staff say, hey, don't bring your own food to the plane. And in fact, these days they give you food when you get on the plane.
And amidst the COVID pandemic, it might be different.
The pandemic, it might suspend it. But when I was playing, you'd have rookies, particularly offensive line rookies. They'd get on the plane and they would have
like two giant saddlebags of
two. They'd have 3 in each hand. And it was all full of chicken.
With their own luggage.
Right, with the chicken and whatever it was, whatever meal they got from Kentucky Fried Chicken or,
whatever
Popeyes
restaurant,
or whatever restaurant it was. They'd come, this is the restaurant, and he'd come in and put it in, bags full of biscuits and gravy and fried chicken. and
if you got something wrong, man, you heard about it. Like, the rookie gets the order wrong.
And it's just, I remember this too. You always got into the habit, I did a little bit as a rookie when I was with the Houston Oilers. The move is to, when they order all this stuff, you always order about 10 to 15 or 20% more than they ordered.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be somebody going, nah.
Better to have too much than not enough.
You need to make sure that you say, hey, where's my biscuits? Oh, here's a whole order for you. You just got to have to shut them up.
Watching Cole Beasley walk up.
Because it does raise your esteem in the locker room as well.
Interesting about Cole Beasley, not on the injury report Wednesday, which got everybody's hopes up that, oh, man, look at this. He's not even on the injury report anymore. And then Thursday, he's added back to the injury report as a limited participant. And so hopes kind of sagged like, oh, he's not 100%. And I think it's safe to say that knee injury is going to keep him from being 100% the rest of the way. But as he said himself, he said, it actually hurts me more not to play than it does to play on it.
Oh, man, I remember that. I remember being like that. There was a time when, late in my career, the most pain-free I was when I was running flat out.
Full speed.
Full speed.
Yeah.
That was the only time when I did not hurt.
Yeah.
When I was standing, taking a knee on either knee, standing at my, and all that. But when I was running flat out, it was good. But when I stopped or when I started, it was painful. Right?
Yeah.
That's when I was like, how long have I been playing here? It might be time to pull the ripcord.
These things are piling up.
Right.
I want to discuss the pressure. People love talking about pressure, and naturally, the pressure always falls on the quarterbacks. They've got the ball in their hands on every single play. There are some that believe that this is more pressure than Josh Allen has ever seen. And I thought he gave a good answer in the press conference this week, Steve. He essentially said, pressure is not something that I put on myself because I use preparation to kind of push that off to the side. And I think once he's playing, his competitive juices take over and the pressure is non-existent. At least that's the way he appears to me when he is out there on the field. I know you and I kind of recognized this early in watching Josh Allen, even as early as 2018, his rookie year. Kid's a gamer. Like, the moments don't swallow him up, if you know what I mean. He almost rises to the level of pressure in the game. He gets better when crunch time arrives. Wouldn't you agree with that? Like, that's the way I see him out there on the field.
Yeah.
I don't see him as a nervous Nelly at all. So I'm not anticipating that on Sunday in any capacity.
No, pressure is nobody cares if it's pressure or not. What they care about is if it affects your performance. And some guys elevate their performance, and other guys shrink away from it or grow tight, or it changes their performance in a way that's like not recognizable. The way pressure negatively affects your performance is when you worry about the consequences of failure, so much so that you don't risk playing your best. You don't want to risk rushing hard because you may have missed something.
Yeah, but you can never play like that. You can never play worried about making a mistake. You just got to go.
That's right, but that's what pressure does to you. It makes you worry about your play. Makes you worry about your own play.
Yeah.
And that's where it really crushes you. You can't worry about your own play. Just go play. Just go do it.
And I know the coaches preach that all season long, because when they see moments of indecision on the game tape, when they review it, Sunday night, Monday morning, whenever it might be, I know they do say to their players, don't hesitate and worry about being wrong. Just play fast.
Yeah.
And if we're not in the best possible call, just play fast and make the best of that play, and then live for the next one and try to make that the best play.
It really is. It's just really all about playing and just being who you are and playing like it. That's what got you to this point, and that's what's going to help you advance.
Mm-hmm.
Play like you can play, and trust that it's good enough. You'll do that, and the guys around you do that. You're going to be all right with the results. You're going to be fine with them. So that's what you have to remember. And it is good, and I think, as we sit here talking about this being a road game for the Bills and going in there, it's only 20,000 fans. I get it. It'll be noisy. It'll be a hostile crowd, but don't fool yourself into thinking you're going to go in there and play alone. This is a team that's really good on the road. It's a team that responds to this kind of atmosphere, and it's going to be fun. I think they're going to have an absolute blast playing this game.
How about Ed Oliver coming up to the airplane in shorts? There's a look.
Yeah.
January, it's about 20 degrees out there.
20 degrees feels like 5.
We're going shorts. Those big guys, they don't feel the cold, though. They never seem to feel it.
Yeah,
they got insulation.
I guess. We used to know, too, and people in Buffalo know this, if your head's warm, if your hands are warm and your feet are warm,
yeah,
the rest of you
you're usually good to go.
Okay.
From there. I found this interesting, Steve. The over-under on this game is 51.5, which would seem to indicate a game in the mid-20s for the most part, right?
One team
you're
low
talking
20s,
28, 24,
20s,
27, 24. That's the game they expect. A lot of people that have picked this game have both teams in the low to mid-30s. So I found that interesting that Las Vegas, which tends to be pretty on the mark with their predictions, has it at 51.5 for the over-under. And
there's a lot in that, too. First of all, they're not talking about the game. They're talking about the bettors.
Right.
They don't care what the
But they got to be somewhere near where it's going to end up.
No, they don't.
To make the money.
No, they don't. They just have to make sure that half the people are going to bet the over and half the people are going to bet the under. That's what they're...
What's your interpretation of that 51.5 figure? Do you think that's low for how you think this game's going to turn out? What about you, though, personally?
Nah, I think it's low.
I think it's a little low, too.
Here's the thing. Now, if it's rainy and that's the thing.
Well,
too.
the
That's
weather,
on top of it. That goes into it. But what Vegas is setting the line on is what people will bet.
Right.
They don't care what the score actually is unless they get lopsided money. And if the money moves, it's because too much money's being bet on one side or the other.
Yeah.
Then the line will move. And that's what they set the line on. It has nothing to do with the game.
Yeah.
It has to do with the perception of the game by the people they serve, the betting public.
Right.
So don't think that Vegas knows something. They don't. They know you.
That's right.
That's what they know.
Now, we just talked about how rookies are assigned with getting food. Here is an example of it.
There you go.
Coming up on the tarmac, 2 bags of orders for – is that AJ? That might be AJ Epinesa getting food for all the defensive linemen. That's the job that the rookies have. They got all their own luggage.
Those are Popeye bags?
And they got all the food with them.
Popeye bags in that?
Yeah, I couldn't see what it was.
I think it was.
But they've got all the food that they've got to bring for – and the defensive line is a big group. We're talking 9-10 guys
That's why he's got
that you got to get food for. if you're a rookie, you want to be in a small position group, like
I'm
tight
surprised,
end
too.
or running back. You only got to get food for 3 or 4 guys.
The
not
pandemic
10 or
has really
11.
helped. You see all these guys they all have this little backpack on and their sweat clothes. That's all they've got. Because there's not like you're going to go out to dinner when you get there.
Nope, you're in your
You're
room.
in your room. You may as well. All you need is a toothbrush and pajamas.
And change of clothes and a change of underwear, basically. Right. And then when you get to the stadium, any warm clothes that you need is provided by the equipment staff.
Yeah, they bring it.
So they're in charge of it. So yeah, you can you can take packing light to a whole new level.
That truck gets there probably today or got there this morning.
That's right. They do travel by ground and they leave a day or two early to get everything out there.
Yeah,
we're waiting for Micah Hyde, Dion Dawkins. They'll both be made available to our colleague Maddie Glab. We'll be doing a little Q&A with them as we get the feelings of the players, as we see what they're thinking about as they get ready to board the plane to head to Kansas City.
Their deadline for getting on the plane is like 1.
Yeah, so we're getting close to it.
We're getting close to that, yeah. Yeah. There's Bjorquez and who's that? I don't know. Interesting. It'll be interesting to see, too, who – I mean, I wonder how many people they travel. Do they travel the 53 plus the 63?
Yeah, they bring a practice squad with them in the event that there is a call-up. They haven't now, they probably know if they're going to do that or not, since that has to happen by 4 p.m. today. So if there is anybody they intend to call up, they get 2 call-ups on the practice squad this year. So if they do that, that'll be done before 4 p.m. today. So by the time this team is landing in Kansas City, we'll probably know who those players are. Last week, they had 2 call-ups. It was Dane Jackson and Antonio Williams, I believe, and neither of them actually dressed for the game. They wound up being inactive players for the game against the Baltimore Ravens.
I would expect it to be almost identical to last week, the game day active roster.
Right, yeah. I mean, you've got 2 questionable players who could come into play there and be on the inactive list if they decide. I mean, I would assume Gabe Davis and Vernon Butler are game-time decisions.
It could be.
They'll probably test them Sunday morning and say, hey.
You know who they could pop up is Krumero?
No. He visited this week. To my knowledge, he did not sign back to the practice squad. So you need an extra receiver. It's probably Duke Williams in all likelihood. I suppose Kenny Stills could be a consideration, but we'll have to see. But I think that they call one of them up before 4 p.m. as an insurance policy, and then they test Gabe Davis Sunday morning pregame.
Right.
See how he's moving. How do you feel? Can you go 50 plays? If yes, then he's up. If no, then they make arrangements otherwise to fill that 6th receiver spot on the roster. And much the same for Vernon Butler. Right. You've got that situation. But let's go out to the airport now as Maddie Glab is standing by with Micah Hyde.
All right, guys, I've got Micah Hyde with me. Micah, how are the vibes as you're getting onto the plane? What's going through your head?
It's always exciting when you have Bills Mafia here, of course. They're all riled up. They're excited for this game. For myself, I'm trying not to get too excited yet. I'm trying to enjoy this plane ride, get some sleep, and wake up tomorrow and I'll be excited.
Yeah, what do you do on the plane? You've got a couple hours. Are you somebody who turns on the iPad and watches some film, or are you trying to relax? Is this the couple hours that you give yourself to relax?
I turn on the iPad and I watch some movies. I watch shows.
Okay.
I'll listen to a podcast. I think I might listen to Matthew McConaughey's book.
Ooh, nice.
We'll see how it goes.
Okay, so we've been discussing all the rookies bringing food for the players. Who's the rookie that brings the food for the secondary, and what do you guys eat on the plane? Is it different every time? I saw some P.F. Chang's bags.
Yes, it's P.F. Chang's. I had to do the spicy chicken with the chicken fried rice. Yeah, JT and Dane Jackson bring the food, and they do a good job of it, for sure.
You guys always got to eat. I love it. But as you guys are preparing for this game, as you're getting on the plane, why is your team ready for this moment? Why are you guys ready for Sunday, everything leading up to it this season?
It's been a process. We feel like we've been continuing to get better. We're excited for this one. It's the next game, next opportunity. And, AFC Championship Game, here we come.
And lastly, Jerry Hughes is taking the underdog role this weekend. I'm sure you guys as a team are, oh my gosh, Isaiah McKenzie has shorts and a t-shirt on.
I can't stand him.
Oh my gosh.
I cannot stand that kid.
But Jerry Hughes, like I was saying, he's taking the underdog role. You guys are too, I'm sure, this weekend as you prepare for this game, as you face Kansas City. Why does this team thrive off that underdog role, Micah? I know it's something that you guys have embraced since you got to Buffalo 4 years ago.
That's the city of Buffalo. Nobody gives Buffalo credit. Whether it's the football team, the city, doesn't matter. So, we have that mentality, the underdog mentality. No one gives us credit, so we're going to run with it.
I love it. Micah, have a safe trip to Kansas City. We can't wait to see you on Sunday.
Thank you, Maddie. I appreciate it.
Bye, Micah.
All right, that's Maddie Glab out there with Micah Hyde, and you can hear some fans out there also. I think the guy that just completely hijacked the interview, though, was Isaiah McKenzie walking by in a complete Hawaiian outfit getup, shorts and a short-sleeve shirt, palm trees and martini glasses.
Short shorts.
Yeah, short. They were too short, quite frankly. I don't think we needed to see that much leg from Isaiah McKenzie.
And just tooling along, man, like nobody's business. Good for him.
And how about Micah Hyde's answer?
I hate that guy.
I can't stand
I
that
can't
guy.
stand that guy.
Here come Mr. and Mrs. Pagula getting set to get on the plane. And, wow, look at Mrs. Pagula carrying the theme from Inauguration Day. Vice President Kamala Harris donned in purple.
Yeah.
You had former First Lady Hillary Clinton in purple. Look at this. First Lady of the Bills in purple as well. Look at that.
It's a power play. Good.
It is a power play,
Awesome.
100% power play.
Awesome.
So the Pagula's getting on the plane as well. We'll check back in with Maddie Glab as she is supposed to be talking to one Dion Dawkins as we watch the Maine Savage. That's Tremaine Edmonds making his way to the aircraft as well. And we do want to thank our ace videographer, Karina Dolan, providing these images for us, as she will be getting on the plane as well once her work is done.
Yeah, she'll get on the plane once we're off the air. She has been one of the photogs that have been in the inner sanctum all season.
That's right, because, limited travel parties, but
right.
we need video.
Right.
That is the ultimate, so there it is.
Karina's
is that Jordan Poyer? Who is that? Can't tell.
No,
it's so hard with the masks on.
Karina's one of those that just, she's not a player, she's not a coach, but she has been with this group from start to finish.
Along with James Acton,
Andrew
Meyer, Jonathan Harkey. Those guys have done bang-up work all season long. Thanks to them for providing the images.
That's Ty Nasecki, I believe.
Ty Nasecki, he's getting on. He's got his food in hand as we're watching the players make their way to the airplane that will take them to Kansas City for the AFC title game tomorrow, 6:40 p.m. kickoff. If you had to pull out the I think everybody's going to say Taron Johnson's interception return is the quintessential moment for this team in the playoffs. But if you had to pick a couple from the regular season, Steve, which ones come to mind first? Which ones flash in your head when you say 2020 Bills regular season?
There's a couple. I could, because I've been watching games and so I remember stuff. You know what I remember is Steph Diggs touchdown in the corner against the Rams, going one-on-one with
Jalen Ramsey.
That's
a big one.
Ran right around him, boom, touchdown.
Oh, and I think that's Taron Johnson there.
Taron Johnson's pick six against Pittsburgh, going down the far side. I think there was, I can't remember the one it was. It was against the sack strip fumble recovery by A.J. Klein against
Seahawks.
Russell Wilson and the Seahawks was a big one. Josh Allen running in for 21 yards against the Denver Broncos in the middle of open space was a big one.
Jerry Hughes against the Broncos.
Steph Diggs in the Arizona game catching the go-ahead touchdown with 24 seconds left. I mean, I can go on. And on.
How about the Diggs touchdown catch at the end of the New England game? Josh is rolling left and just throws a dart.
That was money.
And he slides to catch that thing in the back of the end zone. And that was his second touchdown of the game.
That was money.
I will
admit it, yeah.
And even, the defensive effort against the Raiders that got the ball back 3 straight times in a tight game, and Josh dials one up on a deep post pattern to Diggs.
And snatches it away from the DB. Yeah, that was
a big one.
That was as risky a deep throw as Josh had all year, and it paid off because, Diggs made the play. That's Dr. Tom White, the
one of the head physicians.
Internist.
Yep. As more players file in here.
Is that Dion there coming out of there? Yeah, here's Dion pulling up to the microphone right there with Maddie.
Yeah, your eyes are better than mine, but
yeah,
yes.
there he is, yeah.
I believe we'll have Dion Dawkins here shortly with Maddie Glab as more of the players are making their way to the aircraft now, because the deadline to get on this airplane is 1 o'clock, and we are fast approaching that at this point in time.
That's Feliciano right there.
Yeah,
you can tell by his gait.
By his walk, yeah.
Walking, yeah.
That's his walk. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll hear with So we'll go out to Maddie Glab now, who's standing by with Dion Dawkins.
All right, guys, I've got Dion Dawkins here with me. Dion, how are the vibes as you guys are getting onto the plane?
It's nothing but positivity, nothing but love. I know that I put a video up the other day of all of the letters and like the little postcards that these people like have been sending, and obviously look, and they're still here today, just watching us walk on through.
That wall is so cool. So Dion's talking about a wall in the complex where fans have signed a bunch of cards and can say a bunch of messages to the fans, to the players, and it has lined one of the walls in the complex. It is such a cool sight. So if you haven't checked it out already, you can go on Buffalo Bills social media and see it. Dion did a video with it yesterday. So neat. Dion, you were asked yesterday if you thought about the fact that this is going to be one of the biggest games you've played in yet, and you stopped and you were like, you know what? I haven't thought about it yet until you just brought it up now.
Yeah.
But I like that mindset. You guys have been using the mindset of like, this is just another game. How do you think that plays into this matchup? Being calm and being humble about the fact that you're in the AFC Championship game.
Well, definitely, like we just focus on what's next, and like all week, like we've been like battling in the game every day. So we don't play in the game physically until we can get there, but we play it every day in practice. So we just been taking it one step at a time, growing with it, and just taking it one step at a time, because we don't want our heads to get so swollen up where we forget about what got us here, and we just got to just keep doing the same small steps until it's game day.
What are you up to on the plane? Are you somebody who's watching film? Are you chilling? Are you talking to people? What do you do on the plane?
Honestly, it depends on flight duration. So
okay, you got a couple hours.
I'm sleeping, but on this flight, I'm gonna probably be up watching a couple of TV shows on the iPad. But definitely chilling with the guys and just relaxing.
All right, who's the rookie that brings the food, and what do they bring for you guys?
Oh man, so every rookie brings food for their position group. So we have Trey Adams. Trey Adams brings us Popeye's chicken, sandwiches, and Panera bread salad. So it's a nice combination. And then I know Gabe Davis will sometimes grab like Cheesecake Factory, and I'll go over and sneak a couple of pieces and go and sit down.
Oh my gosh, you guys eat well on this plane. As you have been preparing this week for the game, how has practices been? How has the game film looked as you're going up against this Kansas City defense that knows how to stand back and make sure every wide receiver is guarded? They like to stay deep when they play defense.
Yeah, I mean, that's just in their game, but all of the focus is on us, Maddie. We just consistently focus on ourselves, and we just worry about what's next. And McDermott has been doing a great job of just teaching us how to just trust the process. So that's literally all, and we do all day, every day, from the time we wake up until the time we go to sleep.
All right, last question for you. Why is this team prepared for this moment in this game?
Because nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills, as you can see. You already know the vibes.
I love it.
Baby.
Dion, have a safe trip.
I appreciate it.
Good luck.
Yeah,
All right, that's Dion Dawkins with Maddie Glab out at the Buffalo Niagara International Airport as the players will be getting on the airplane here shortly. The last handful of players will be getting on, and then the doors will get shut, and off they go as they travel out to Kansas City for tomorrow's AFC title game. We want to remind fans that there is a fan documentary that the PSE team has put together. You can see that on buffalobills.com at your leisure, so be sure to check that out. It's about a 20-25 minute piece that they put together, kind of a salute to you guys. So make sure you check that out. And I've seen most of it. It's pretty darn good, so something you want to check out. Our thanks to Jonathan Harkey, who is providing the images out there. I thought it was Karina Dolan. It's actually Jonathan who's doing that, so thanks to one of our videographers. I know she's there, but Jonathan working the camera today out on the tarmac as we send this team off to their first AFC title game since 1994. Steve, as we close here, a Bills victory over the Chiefs will look like what? How's this game play out in your mind?
I think the Bills play like we've seen them play throughout this year. I think they're going to score some points and win. I think they're going to make some plays defensively. It's going to be a close game, and the Bills are going to come out on top. And I don't think if the Bills win this, I don't think the Chiefs will have any excuses other than to say the Bills are a really good football team. I think it'll remove all the doubt.
I think they do rise to the occasion here, and I don't know why, but I just think a couple of big plays are turned in by the Bills to swing the balance, because I think that's what you need to beat this Chiefs team. The Bills are 10-0 this season when they have as many or more big plays than their opponent this season. I think that's what it takes to beat the Chiefs. I think they're going to be able to come up with some of those, and that'll be the difference in this game. Still think it's going to be razor thin, though. The margin of victory is not going to be significant.
I don't think you'll ever feel comfortable in this win until it actually happens. But the Bills have the horses to win this game if they play their best. And I think you can count on the defense making some plays, maybe not at the end of the game, but somewhere along the lines. The Bills' defense will make some plays that will be a difference at the end. So that's what it'll look like to me.
Yeah. So once again, check out the latest 2020 Bills documentary presented by Connors and Ferris, available on BuffaloBills.com, the Bills YouTube channel, and on the Bills Facebook page. Once again, our thanks to Jonathan Harkey and Maddie Glab out at the Buffalo Niagara International Airport. For Steve Tasker, I'm Chris Brown saying so long here on our One Bills Live Saturday send-off stream as we bid adieu to the Bills and wish them good luck in the AFC title game on Sunday. Enjoy the game, everybody. We'll catch up with you on Monday on One Bills Live at noon.